Right, hello there everybody, my name is Adam Clery, this is the aptly named Adam Clery Football Channel, and Chelsea finally are doing something in the transfer window. After this barren summer that's seen them only sign Jamie Gittens, Pedro, Liam Delap, Estevao, Dario Usego, Mamadou Sarr, and Kendry Pais, I'm not sure how you say his name, for a meagre £210 million, Xavi Simons has arrived to give them a much-needed shot in the arm. But who is he? What does he do? At Chelsea aware you're only allowed to field 11 players at a time. All this and much, much more explored through statistical data, selected highlights, and potentially one knob joke. Alright, so before we start, say hello to Archie, everyone. Yeah, Chelsea aren't the only ones making serious moves in the transfer window, so we've gone and splashed the cash on a mercurial editing talent, just in case you're wondering why the videos suddenly look a lot nicer. That is all him, not me, so hashtag welcome Archie in the chat, please. Oh, and also, ACFC is now on TikTok and Instagram and all the short form vertical things, just in case you really do enjoy these, but wish they were 95% shorter. So we'll have condensed versions of the videos on there, plus some fun behind the scenes stuff, and maybe a dance if someone on the social team tells me that is what you do there. Anyway though, Xavi Simons, the actual reason you clicked on this video. Who is he? Well, he's Dutch born, hence being Dutch, but grew up in Spain where he spent 9 years in the La Masia Academy in Barcelona. Not bad. Before then moving to PSG at 16 and only making 3 starts in 6 years. Not good. He then had this weird year at PSV where they originally wanted to loan him, then decided they actually wanted to buy him, but agreed a £6 million buyback clause with PSG, who then, when he was really good at PSV, decided they wanted to do straight away. So got him straight back, but then just immediately loaned him out to Leipzig. And he's been there since 2023, but somehow only signed for them permanently earlier this year, before telling them at the start of the summer that since they weren't near him anymore, he was going to leave. And I will obviously do all the tactic stuff in a second. I know why you're here. I just think the journey he took getting to Chelsea is fucking mad. If we wind this entire timeline back to the start, it brings full circle Chelsea's interest in him from when he was 12 years old. They were initially linked with him in 2016 when he looked absolutely adorable, by the way. Look at those little cheeks. And now they've finally got him. But no, you're right, this is not the one show. So what does he actually do on a football pitch? Well, if his name rings a bell and you're not either terminally online or, like me, had him running your midfield on Football Manager about 3 years ago, that is because at the European Championships against England, he did this. Chases the ball back in the final third, gives Declan Rice his dinner, then strides forward with the ball and lashes it into the net from 20 yards. Which, quite conveniently for anyone who might be making a video on what kind of a player he is a very neat summation of what he does in a game. He is tactically very switched on, works really hard off the ball, carries it excellently into dangerous areas, and then has a bit of a shit pinger on him. Now, first off, across his career, he has been positionally very versatile. He's made 59 starts as a left forward, 27 over here on the right, 41 centrally as a 10, and then 10 centrally as a striker. And there's also a handful of others dotted about where the system technically makes him either a central midfielder or just a left-sided midfielder or even a second striker. So he gets around. He's very happy to be wherever you need him to be. Now, of course, the ability for him to do this comes from his incredible footballing education at Barcelona, but the necessity for him to do this comes from the tactical flexibility that he had at Leipzig last season. Now, this is his own personal heat map across all competitions last season, and yes, very good point, it is exactly like Cole Palmer's, just flipped from the left to the right, but the main things to note are this. As well as being really focused in this left-hand half space where all the best bastards play, he's also very happy to give his team width down the left-hand side, really useful, and oh hello, what is this? An awful lot of time seemingly spent in more of a left defensive area. And let me just show you why that is, right? So end of last season, Leipzig are playing Bayern Munich, right? The game finishes 3-3, and these are the average positions of all the Leipzig players. Now, our boy is wearing the number 10 here, and despite the fact he's quite central, he was actually playing on the left side of what was effectively a 4-4-2. That number 22 there, that's actually the left back, David Raum. And if we just get rid of everybody else for this and show you his individual heat map for that game, you will see he was grafting his arse off all the way back into his own half and even into his own box because he was tasked with doing a job on Michael Elise. The first goal in that game, he gets all the way back here to double up on him, takes the ball off him as he tries to go inside, and then creates the goal from deep in this left back area. Outside of the boot pass for an outside of the boot finish against Bayern Munich. That ain't bad. But then, in the 94th minute, they're chasing the game. They've stuck him right in behind the centre forwards. And yes, what you're about to see is a minging scrappy goal. But the composure to do this with 5 players in front of you shows you the sort of level he is at on the ball in the final third. And if you go and look at all his numbers from last season, it does back all this up. Like, this is his off-the-ball stuff, and it's not going to blow you away, but he's not a pure presser, is he? It's just a part of his game, so being in the top half, the top third, for a lot of this is really good. And those ball recoveries, more than 5 per game, just screams high work rate, which, again, you see in that exact moment against Declan Rice. He doesn't give that ball up. He fights him for it. But you look at his creative numbers around the box, and they're right in the very elite brackets for expected assists, for key passes, for passes into the penalty area. You can just see here, he's a really hard-working, great system player who just so happens to be extremely technically gifted. But what about that goal? Well, yes, he's utterly scunnered the ball past Jordan Pickford, and that is basically what he likes to do. But there is, like, a weird quirk to his shooting. Now, this might look absolutely horrendous, but we're not going to know unless we try, right? So I'm going to take his heat map from last season and overlay his shot map from last season. And you can see that despite the fact he spends most of his time on the ball in this position here to the left of centre, and he has most of his shots from this position here to the left of centre, his goals, which are the solid red ones, they tend to come from the other side, to the right of centre. Like, that's quite mad, isn't it, when you look at it? Like, not one single goal last season from further wide than the left-hand post. He does not score from this area where he tends to shoot. And if you're wondering why that might be, right, I've been back through and I've had a look at all this stuff, right? He strikes the ball brilliantly with his laces when he just, like, thwacks the thing at goal. But his curled efforts, which tend to be from these areas, they lack the power and they lack the spin and they lack any sort of real conviction. So it's a technique issue. The way he hits the ball here is much better than how he hits the ball there. And I did call this a quirk earlier on, but no, you're right. It is absolutely a flaw. Chelsea will still absolutely want him in this part of the pitch because when you watch him, he creates chances absolutely beautifully from that area. But if you're Enzo Maresca, you've either got to work on developing his technique for shooting in this part of the pitch or make sure he's only really doing it when he gets into here, because when he does, woof. However, all that being said, his creativity around the box, his shooting, his work rate, his positional sort of flexibility, none of those, I would say, are his best quality. He loves to go and collect the ball deep, run it up the entire length of the pitch, and then open the defense up with it. And don't get me wrong, like, Cole Palmer can do that as well. You saw him do it brilliantly against PSG in the Club World Cup final, but that is a part of his game, whereas for Simons, it is his game. Last season, he made 123, and my God, thank you, Opta, for this. Long, progressive carries with the ball, again, massively favouring this side over this side, with only Marmoush and Musiala in the league creating more goals than he did from this type of action. They got 5, he got 4. And purely in terms of numbers, he did this more than 5 times every single game, which would put him ahead of every single Chelsea player, bar Neto, who, remember, almost exclusively plays in the wide areas, where there's more space, not in the central areas where it's really hard to do this. Which, you know, given Maresca still really wants Chelsea to be a more high possession, methodical, cerebral, patient attacking team, they are still one of the best sides in the Premier League in these situations. Second most direct attacks in the league behind Liverpool, the second highest number of shots from counter-attacks. They are so dangerous in transition where there is space available for players to run into, and Xavi Simons is absolutely class at that. So he not only helps them to be more creative around the box against low blocks, but in games where it is a bit more open and there is space to run into, he just thrives doing that. And like, if you look at his numbers for this, he doesn't beat people like you'd expect from a winger. They're quite low, but his carrying and his creating from carrying numbers are every bit as impressive as his passing. Truly, get you a man who can do both. So, where does he fit in to this Chelsea team then? And well, to be fair, if you've been watching me for long enough, you will know I hate talking about best 11s, because if you are a side competing in like 3 or 4 competitions with a really big squad and a manager who makes individual tactical tweaks based on the opposition, you don't have a best 11. They're an old thing. They don't really exist anymore. But just hypothetically, everybody being fit, going into a big game, that's what I would do if I was trying to include him. You would start him here and allow him to drift out into this space. You would start Palmer here and allow him to drift in to this space. You get your width from your fullback, and then you shuffle the defenders across. Now, obviously, some problems with that. There's no room for Enzo. There's no place for Delap. If you're tucking your left back in, you're probably going to want Hato over Mark Cucurella, so you leave him out. It's maybe not the best use of Reece James, but he can do that. So yeah, fuck knows, to be quite honest with you, but that's why I'm doing videos on YouTube, and Enzo Maresca is a qualified football manager making around about £4 million a year. So we will get him in there somehow, and we'll just find out together. But yes, that's it. That's the video. I started doing it thinking he was a good signing, and now I think he's quietly a great signing if he doesn't mind how many minutes he's getting. But Chelsea fans, another video for you this summer. Let us know what you think of him in the comments down below. Do you not want another centre-back? I kind of feel like they should be buying another centre-back instead of another attacker, but that is just me, and you can get me, across all the social medias, at Adam Clery, Clery. Subscribe to the channel, why not? We're going places, and it's loads and loads of fun, and we've got some cool, nice, exciting announcements to make. And if you haven't already, dropped it in the comments. Hashtag welcome Archie would make me incredibly pleased, and probably be quite nice for him as well. That's it. Goodbye.